Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Grit to Growth podcast. I'm your host, Levi with Mailbox Money. Today's guest is Lucy Kovalova-Woods, founder of the WKG Strategy and leader in healthcare and innovation, patient engagement, and disability inclusion. For more than 15 years, Lucy has helped organizations turn big ideas into meaningful change by connecting strategy with the people those decisions actually impact. From healthcare systems to nonprofits and research organizations, her work is centered on creating better experiences, stronger partnerships, and lasting impact. Lucy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for this nice intro.
No problem. We like to tee you guys up pretty well around here, and you're a pretty easy one to do. So Lucy, why don't you kind of start with some personal background of yourself? Let the people know where you came from and where you are today.
Geographically, I come from Ukraine, and currently I live in Canada, Alberta, and it is an amazing place to live, and it is an amazing place to work from and try to make a difference all around the world. Professionally, I come from management consulting background. For the past 11 years, I've been working for myself as a management consultant. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I completely changed my focus and decided to work with project that I love, which is healthcare and education mostly. The reason is I learn hard way that people sometimes forced to change, and some decisions come not from their own will, I would say, because sometimes we forced to change our career and change our life due to the health conditions, due to the different circumstance. We know what's going on in the world. It's not easy. It's not always safe, and it can be quite challenging to adapt.
No kidding. That was kind of the crux what changed you and started you on your path today. Then, did you say you learned the hard way?
I did, unfortunately. When I moved to Canada, 2 months shortly after I moved to Canada, I became ill. I had severe pain. I wasn't able to walk, to move. I wasn't able to work as a consultant anymore. And that was quite challenging because it was shortly after we moved to 2 continents, 3 countries, and tried to settle in Canada. And everything was kind of falling apart. And few months later, I had my first diagnosis, and I started connecting to people who live with similar conditions. And I started connecting with different organizations who already make difference locally. And this is how I become interested in advocacy and in career change, because myself, I've done it before in 2014 when the revolution broke out in my home country. I was forced to change, and this is when I started freelancing. This is how I started consulting. That was my, I would say, first career change. Well, not the first. I had many twists, like all of us, but that was first significant. And the second, when I was changing towards patient engagement and disability inclusion advocacy. And currently, we have nonprofit that helps people with visible, invisible, and dynamic disabilities with career transition.
If you don't mind, what is kind of a piece of advice that you would give to someone that is in that hard situation, whether that be with health or conditions they can't control themselves? Where does one start when they find themselves in those kind of situations?
Yeah, well, the simple thing works one day at a time, one conversation at a time. Reach out to people. There are so many good people around us. And even online, if you're stuck at home, go online, go to social media, go to specialized communities, reach out to nonprofits who already have different support groups. Peer support is extremely important in that situation. So don't be stuck in your mind and just try. Doesn't hurt to try.
So Lucy, one thing I noticed on you is that you talk about bridging the gap between strategy and lived experience. What does that really mean to you in your words?
It is important to engage patients, to engage people with lived experiences in research, in projects development, in healthcare decision making. And the reason is because people with lived experience bring different perspective.
Mhm.
Uh, we learned the hard way how to live with chronic pain. We learned the hard way how to deal with mobility issues, and we know what we want from this project. We know what research should provide. So it's one thing when the researcher or project developer working on the project from their own angle, but without lived experience, you don't have this specific angle that works specifically for the customer, for people with different type of conditions.
What does that look like when you're connecting with someone with that lived experience to these providers or foundations? Can you walk us through kind of how those situations unfold?
There are very different type of engagement. Sometimes it's a focus group where people with lived experience join and share their perspective and share what type of focus the project can take to be helpful. Sometimes people with lived experience research engaged in research. So the research projects from the beginning, be that analysis of different literature or be that the project initial development, whatever that is, AI, healthcare, or research or clinical trials. So whatever that is, to have this specific angle and specific knowledge and specific understanding is important because sometimes you just don't know what is important for most important thing for the person with mobility issues. Is it mobility issue itself? Is it chronic pain? Or is it something else completely? We had quite surprising outcomes and answers sometimes.
Is it kind of hard to, because like you said, each situation is so specific to that person and everything. Is it do you see trends when you're doing these, or do you often find it has to end up being more tailored to the individual?
Well, it's different from project to project.
Okay.
Sometimes we have like secondary analysis of the literature of the market, and we have, as a researcher from the business perspective, we have one type of plan for the project, and then we engage people with lived experience, and we realize that we need to shift completely, or add something, or change something, or just change language, plain language for the project. Some things are just different. One of the projects we had were assistive device been developed for specific group of patients for specific condition, and then we do research and we realize that there's much wider market for this type of device, and we can offer some different patients and different organizations.
Yeah, I think that's going back to like your whole thesis of actually listening to who these systems or devices or whatever it be actually affect. I think that is the best way to go about that. You kind of mentioned earlier about how rapidly healthcare is changing. You even mentioned AI in there. What do you see as some of the biggest opportunities over the next coming years, say 5 to 10?
The biggest opportunities is innovation in healthcare, probably AI, but I would also say the devices and the project themselves. We see we see rapid change towards understanding patient better, understanding what patient needs, engaging patient, being attentive to the language used in different materials, reading materials we give the patient, providing materials in different formats. So it can be audio, it can be visual, it can be printed, it can be digital. So there are various angles for the project, and we see shift towards this acceptance and this understanding. There are on average 20% of the population of Earth lives with disabilities, and less than 10% of those disabilities caused by accidents, more than 90% caused by health conditions. So we must tailor to this population.
What would you say excites you the most, and then what would you say concerns you the most with the innovation coming up?
When you use of AI, there are many questions, of course. It is used more and more, and I see positive change, but also we see a lot of misinformation. I think misinformation will continue to be one of the major concerns. When we go to Google and that AI summary on the top, we know
Yeah.
doctors don't like us to Google our conditions. And it's like Dr. Google doesn't work, but with AI, it didn't become better. More than half of that information is actually inaccurate, and that can be dangerous.
Very
Uh,
much so.
yeah, so this I think will be the biggest concern to provide this accuracy and making sure that Dr. Google will be kind of in a bag.
I like that. I like the way you put that, Dr. Google. That's very funny. So it sounds like with the work that you're doing, it helps kind of balance the innovation with keeping things personal, making sure the patient is heard. Uh, um, yeah, I think that's an amazing goal to strive for, and I hope to continue to see you guys doing so. Lucy, if you don't mind, I'd like to switch gears a little bit. Since you've worked with so many different organizations and leadership teams, what do you see that separates great leaders from average ones?
I would say great leaders listen more and engage more and lead. Well, popular saying lead by example. I would say lead by guidance. Mentorship is important instead of just micromanage and try to make sure that every task somehow done, somehow on time. So yes, I would say mentorship and flexibility being the keys for great leader.
What do you think usually causes a successful partnership, and what is it that you kind of see that causes them to maybe not be quite as successful or even outright fail?
Unfortunately, a lot of it is on personal level. Two people meet and they're either click or not. They can speak
Hmm.
freely or not. There is a language barrier or not. There is a different type of language used or same type of language, different mode. Sometimes it's mood. One person join in pain, they're unable to communicate. They're irritated by everything. So personal level is actually playing great role. So it's important to keep those connections going no matter what and try to build partnership. It is difficult to build those connections between governments and organizations, but we have to keep trying. And it is difficult to keep engaging patients. And depending on the country where you're from, it's either better or worse. But many developed countries currently is actually working towards wider engagement of patients in different processes in the healthcare and other projects.
Along those lines, say a business or healthcare organization wants to become more inclusive, where is it that you would recommend they start at?
I would recommend reaching out to patient partner organization. There are many in every country, and there are many global ones. I also represent International Alliance of Patient Organizations, and I see great example how partnership can make difference. This is what we're trying to build that guidance for patient organization because this is an important link to make those connections.
What's something, often I see businesses or organizations that they want to be more inclusive and they're trying to take those steps, but they sometimes overcomplicate that. What is kind of some of those pitfalls or traps that you see when people are trying to do the right thing, but they just don't know that it quite isn't?
Well, inclusivity in a workplace is a completely different topic. It's sometimes hard to achieve. Sometimes it's very simple, like engage in professional organization to get the training done for your employees, so that people know what to say, what not to say. Like looking at the person who lives with chronic pain and saying, "Oh, you look good today. You're not sick. Are you cured?" Well, those are the people that are not cured. There is no cure. And all they need is simple understanding. We don't need a chair put for us unless we ask for it, unless it's important. We don't need sometimes specific accommodations, or sometimes we don't want to say that we need accommodation. Like I need specific ergonomic chair in my workplace. People are afraid to ask for those accommodations because they don't want to get fired, which often happens.
I do see steps being made to eliminate that more and more, but you still hear those stories of, yeah, just because, quite frankly, some pretty easy accommodations for a business to do. They still are hesitant, and I'm glad there's organizations like you and the work that you're doing to help make that number even smaller. Lucy, what would you say the impact that your work, what does that do for you on a personal level, and what do you hope other people are saying about your work?
On a personal level, the moment I reached out to my first connection and patient partner organization gave me hope. It gave me more understanding and more support and gave me tools that I needed to manage myself. The work I'm doing now does even more to me personally. It's important to help others who don't have guidance and maybe tools or skills that I had. Even with my skills and tools that I had as freelancer, I wasn't able to manage at some point. So I want others to be able to manage with our help. And I hope to make that type of difference.
Would you have any pieces of advice for people who would like to follow down a similar path to you? Maybe, obviously, a lot of what you went through it was very tough and personal. But I think there's a lot of people out there that also have, similar stories that would like to be able to help others, especially overcome things that they've personally overcame.
My advice, just reach out to us, reach out to other organizations, stay connected, find those connections that works best for you. If it's not the first organization you reach out to, try again, try more, look wider, just don't give up.
Lucy, where's for your organization? Where would you send people to learn more, find more, connect with you, and engage?
That's easy. We have two websites, WKGstrategy.com and WKGFoundation.com. Reach out, find me online. It's very easy. You can Google my name, you'll find my LinkedIn, my Facebook. Reach out, personal connection, professional connection, whichever is convenient for you. I'm open. Let's arrange the talk. I will be happy to help any way I can.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your personal story and how you turned in a hard situation into what you're doing today to help others. We really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you guys on the next one.